Want to make more money for your hard work? Don't we all? But often getting a raise has a lot more to do with your communication skills than with your job performance. So, how should you go about asking for a raise? Well, joining us to answer that important question is Thomas Zweifel. He's CEO of Swiss Consulting Group. He's also the author of the book, Communicate or Die. Boy, that sounds like a dire title, Tom.
Fairly dramatic.
Yeah, why the title?
Well, I believe that communication can really handle anything, and if you don't know how to communicate now, if you don't know how to listen or speak effectively, you will just run into big trouble, and it can cause even wars, it could cause divorce, it could cause lawsuits.
And it could cause you not to get the raise you want.
Exactly.
So how do you speak correctly in order to get the raise that you do want?
Okay, the first thing that I would say is that you have to realize that it's an ongoing process. You cannot rely on one single communication and say, if I have this brilliant interaction with my boss or my employer or the decision maker, then I will get this raise. I see it as an ongoing process where you go through several steps, a whole sustainable campaign almost. I think we'll see a pyramid in a moment where you walk through relationship, vision, strategy, and action.
Does that basically mean that you gradually tell your boss, communicate to your boss your accomplishments?
Yeah, one of the things you would do is you would keep a log of your accomplishments and you try to make them as quantifiable as possible so that you can at any time when the time comes to make the pitch, that you have a real rationale for why you're valuable to the company and why you deserve that raise.
So basically you track your accomplishments.
That's one of the...
Keep a record. Be a good record keeper.
Exactly. Exactly.
How else?
Well, there's a big part in the communication that actually starts before you even open your mouth, and that's the listening part. Many people barge in, and I'm going to insult us in the US a little bit. We tend to be very broadcast-oriented, very communication-oriented, the speaking part, and forget about the listening and forget about what comes before you even make the pitch. How do you listen to them? How do you find out what vision they have? How do you find out why they need you? How do you find out whether they need you or whether they have a backup? They can get other people who don't need the raise, for example. So the listening plays an enormous part in the negotiation.
And I see, and you also need to listen to know when the proper time is to ask.
Exactly. The timing is probably everything, and if you do an ongoing campaign, if you do it almost year-round, then you can choose the right time. You're sitting almost in front of the mouse hole like a cat, and you strike at the right moment.
So what is the right time?
I think today is the right time. I think your timing is impeccable. I think Kurt just a moment ago said that this is a good time to ask. The time between the years is the time when corporations make the budgets for the next year. They make the plans for the next year. It's a perfect time to now sit down with your manager or with your boss and say, I would really like to have a 10% raise. How would I go about that? How would you go about it if you were me?
Right, but of course I would imagine the circumstances depend upon what's happening in your company.
That's of course always true.
And,
you have to do
so
research.
many people are hearing and have heard for a long time, oh, things are really tight, and they see people being laid off left and right, and they're the survivor. So how do you then feel that you can ask for a raise?
Well, I did some research before I came here, and the numbers are pretty encouraging. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the banking, savings and loan industry increased by 12%, 12.5%, aircraft manufacturing by 9.2%, finance by 7.3%. So there is encouraging numbers. Even the service industry, which is the worst performer, grew by 3%, the compensation packages.
So these are compensation packages you're seeing, and this is for what? For last year compared to the year before?
This will be as of the end of September for the last 12 months.
For the last 12 months? Mm-hmm. Not bad. I mean, that certainly does top the rate of inflation and all the statistics that we see out of the government in terms of the average increase. So somebody's doing something right here.
I think so.
Good. So what would be the mantra that people should keep in their mind as they plan for asking for a raise?
I think the mantra should be stand in the shoes of the other person. If you can stand, instead of being worried or obsessed or concerned about how it is for you, try to stand in the shoes of the employer. Try to see where they are, what they need, what their vision is,